Hey there, Professor Demersion here. I wanted to go over some of the stuff that we looked at in class and give you a kind of tutorial that you can use to walk you through the three assignments that I want us to focus on for our homework this week. And basically what we're really trying to do here is um, really just kind of start to learn some of the key mechanics of Photoshop, and don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to make this awesome looking artwork. I'm much more interested in you just understanding how things work and how to get things done than any kind of magnificent final piece. So let's dig in. I'm going to start simple and then we'll get to some more fun, complicated stuff, but it's nothing too bad. And hopefully with the video you can kind of keep rewinding things back and forth if you missed something. So I want to kind of apply some of those ideas that we talked about with the elements of design and with the principles of design. So let's start with something simple. First of all, let's make a new document, a new Photoshop document, and let's just call this one your last name, and we'll call it part 1. Okay, and for this one I want you to choose custom. We want to make it a particular size. Let's say this is something that we know we want a 1000 pixel by 1000 pixel some image that we're going to put on the web. 72 PPI resolution is great for the web. It's totally fine. RGB color, I like the transparent. So if you could stick with that for now. And let's hit OK. So here we have our transparent background. It's 1000 pixels long. If yours isn't in pixels here, you can change that under the preferences. You just go to preferences, units and rulers, and rulers and pixels. Okay, so you just change that, and so you might be inches here, but switch that to pixels and you'll be good to go. While we're at it, what I'd like to do is draw a little sign, a line right down the center at the halfway point. Okay, and in order to do that, we want to go into the View menu here and go down to New Guide, and we want this to be a vertical guide. And I'm going to make it 500. Basically, I'm going to split the image in half. We're going to play with some of those ideas of symmetry today. And so now we have this. We know this is this exact center. You could put one going along the middle if you wanted to. And you can toggle that on and off with the command semicolon key. Now, this will never like print out if you're it's a guide that only you see and it doesn't end up in the final image. It's an important kind of concept. So I want to kind of just recap some of the stuff that we did last time. Let's open up a couple of your images from class that you guys took on your mobile phone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go into the File menu to Open. And then I'm going to go, I got all your things together here. And let's start with, I just kind of randomly picked something from Carly's batch. I saw some ones that I liked. I liked this texture. I thought that was cool. So I'm just going to add that image to this, and then I'm going to go Command O, which is another way of just kind of quickly and I kind of like this, think what she's going for here is this warm color. So we have one texture, one warm color. You can, maybe those are good ones to choose for this exercise. And what you can see here is that now we have three kind of tab documents open. The one that we called Smith Part 1, and then one tab just to the right of that, Elements 1 that she called it, and Elements 3. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this half of the left half of this image one of the textures, and the other one's going to be the color. Just for, it's a fun little exercise, okay? So I'm going to choose this one, and I kind of like, I don't want to get this stuff, but I do like this texture. So I'm going to choose here the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to just make a selection. You don't have to be too specific with this. Just kind of get the stuff that you want to take, and that's the marquee tool. It's the second one down. Just make sure it's the rectangle one. You could use the oval, but it'll be maybe trickier for this exercise. I'm going to hit Command C, which means copy, And you can see how when you're doing this stuff all the time, those command keys are really important. Okay, I just went over to the Smith one here, part 1, and then I went Command V, which is paste. If you ever forget those things, by every one, do you see here, I went down the edit menu and paste, and then it shows you Command V. That up arrow means Command Shift C, etc. So it tells you what the command quick keys are if you ever forget. Okay, so I just pasted it in here. Now I'm going to use that trick with the zooming in and out. You can go using the command plus and command minus. I'm zooming the image in and out, and what I'm going to do is use that thing that we looked at before. I'm going to bring this, and this is called transforming. It's command T. So you can see we have a lot of room here around the image. If I go command minus, a little bit smaller, you can see that this is a really big image. It's much bigger than 1000 by 1000. So I'm just going to line it up with my halfway point here and then kind of bring it down and get some of these interesting kind of textures in there. And something like that. You don't have to be too fussy. It's really just kind of getting used to it. So I'm going to zoom it up just to make sure I got it kind of the way I wanted to. And the way I kind of quickly came back to filling my screen was Command 0. Okay, do you see that red line here? I don't know if you can see it in the video. When you get your image right up on that dividing line that we have, it makes that red line. That's when you know you got it right there. So I'm going to hit return on that, and it accepts that transformation, that scaling down of that image. We then want to, let's bring in her other image here, and it's here. We're going to do this one a little bit quicker. I'm going to choose the marquee. If I want to quickly go to the marquee, I can just hit M here. So if I want to go back to move and then hit M, you just do it. You don't have to type any commands or anything like that, like Command M. It's just M. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle here on this nice kind of wood red color that she has. I'm going to go Command C and then come back over here, and I'm just going to hit paste. Okay, now you can see what happened. It pasted that in time because that image is bigger than the whole image here. It's on a separate layer. This is an important thing I should have emphasized more in our class. The things that are on the top layer you kind of are the things that are visible, and the things that are, this is still there, it's just the other ones like on top of it. Okay, so if I hit Command T, that transform key again, you can start to bring this down so it's smaller. If you wanted to go Command minus and see more of what you're doing, that's totally cool too. I'm going to line that up, look for the red light, the red kind of color to turn on there, and maybe bring this up a little bit and kind of shrink that down to the image size. Yours is going to be slightly different. It's whatever you want to do, but just kind of, this is a simple, fun, like practice thing. I'm going to take that away, and so now we have just a kind of quick juxtaposition of a texture and a color kind of vibrating back and forth, halfway to halfway. So just a fun little exercise to get us rolling as a first kind of thing. So that's your part one. I'll save that. And now you would make, when you're making, you don't want to send out the biggest version of that. You want to send out save this as a JPEG instead of Photoshop, and then choose this and save it as a JPEG to your documents kind of homework something in your IDM folder. Okay, and that part's done. You could kind of bring that down to like medium. What this does is it makes it much easier for you to upload. You don't want to be uploading a 25 megabyte file to the this is a 6 megabyte file. Once it's compressed as a JPEG, it'll be much smaller. Okay, so let me just get rid of this and we'll start for, this is the second one that I want us to do today. I'm just going to say don't save to that. Now for the second thing, let's open up a new image. We'll call this one your last name part 2. We'll go to the custom, and let's make another 1000 by 1000 image. This time we're gonna work with this idea of symmetry. Everything else is good here. And let's add that once again, our guide at the midway point. And we're going to kind of play with this idea of symmetry. You know, like we were looking at, take a look at some, if you like tattoos, I'll put Robert Ryan's Electric Tattoo website. He does amazing work with Indian motifs, and they use a lot of these kind of symmetry things. We're just going to do something simple and fun. Once again, it's all about you just learning the tools and what things do. Okay, so we have this one image. Let's grab some of your other, we're going to get 2 other images from you guys today. I think I'm going to choose, Anna had some nice stuff, so Carly, thank you. That was great. And I got some things that Neil did were also, everyone did some really nice pictures, and just because I'm not using yours doesn't mean that they're not cool. These are pretty much just totally random. 3744 I liked. This is nice. I'll open that one, and then I'm going to go Command O and get 3750. Okay. I thought this was a really cool texture here. So once again, we have on the 3 tabs the blank one, and then the other guys here. So this time, let's start with this one here. I'm going to select all, Command A. This is one of those commands that works across all your applications, like from Final Cut Pro to Microsoft Word. Command A, Command C, and then I'm going to bring it over here to our Smith one, and then go Command V. Okay, just quick. You can see that when you do this 13,000 times a day, you save about an hour off the end of the day when you're using those quick keys. You probably save a year at the end of your life. That you could be doing something fabulous. Okay, so this is pretty good for right now. Let's just kind of fill that image with the, there we go. And I'm going to just hit return. We don't have to be too fancy. What I'm going to do now is explore some of those concepts of the combining these different selection tools. It's all about learning about these selection tools. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to go back up to hit Command 0, and let's make just a simple selection of a rectangle. Now let's say you want to alter that in some way. You can, the quick key here, if I want to change it from the rectangle to the circle now, you can just do that automatically by going Shift M. Do you see I'm hitting Shift M, and look up here? It's changing automatically. It's just one of those little things that's actually pretty helpful. I'm going to hold down, watch as I hold down the Option key, and that's make and go from plus to minus. So if I hold down the Shift key, it's going to go make an addition here, a little bump. I'm going to go Command Z. Whenever you do something you don't want to do, you hit Command Z, that means undo. And instead I'm going to take something away here, and I'm going to just kind of make a circle that digs into this guy. And now if you hold down the space bar, you can actually move that to some place that you like, and that's pretty good. Like, once again, we don't have to be too fussy. And today we're just learning the tools. So we have this weird shape that you can't really, I mean, you could draw it, but man, it would take you a long time. It's nice to use those intersections and additions. And in the next one, a separate video, I'll show you some of the other ones. So we're going to use this trick that we use that says take that selection and bump it up to its own layer, but with, and that's Command J. And do you see how here, now what we have is just that selection that's filled with this cool texture that Anna made. Okay, nice. So what I want to do now is I want to duplicate that and then kind of rotate it and turn it around. So if you want to duplicate it with this layer selected, layer 2 selected, and you can always just kind of type in here, if I click that, double click it, left, I could call this, you can call these layers anything you want, and as your projects get bigger, you definitely want to do that. And you can then just go to layer, duplicate. So everything that I do a quick key for, you can call it right here. Whoops, righty. You can see now I have two of these that are exactly the same. So for this top one, the one that I want to put on the right, what I want to do is I want to turn it so it's facing like a mirror image. Remember we talked about symmetry, and it's like the exact same thing on the opposite side of one of the axes. And that's going to show you a little trick that we didn't learn in class, but it's kind of a fun one. So if I go down the edit menu and go to transform, we've been using that free transform all the time, that command T. This is a different one. Transform, you can see the skew, and you can do crazy stuff here if you wanted to. I'm going to choose flip horizontal, and what that did is it flipped this image, just the top one, not the bottom one. If I go to the move tool here, now I'm going to hold down the shift key and drag it over, and what the shift key does is it's just kind of restraining so it doesn't go up high or low. It's kind of locked so it's exactly parallel with that one. So I want to make, remember we were talking about how sometimes the negative space is really something cool to look at. So I went about, I'm working quickly in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went 5 of these kind of squares to the right. You could just kind of move this one now holding down the shift key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. I think I got to do one more. It's just like a quick way. So now we have this kind of funky shape. There's symmetry on both sides. You can get rid of that. And that's kind of looking cool. Now what if I wanted to, on this right hand one, paste this texture into that one? Well, that would be kind of cool. How do you do that? How do you do something where you paste it into it already? So what I did here is I've gone up to our top layer and I've command clicked on that, and you can see the marching ants here, and so it's kind of made this selection. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the one that we want to work with, and I'm going to quickly hit the marquee tool. Whoops. I have my dock on the left, that's why it kind of spazzes out like that. And I'm going to make a selection here. I'm going to go Command C, and then here's the trick. When you go back to the main image, you go File, pardon me, I'm so sorry, Edit, Paste, Special, and here's the trick, Paste Into. Look at all those modifiers going on. So the quick key, which I totally wouldn't expect you to remember, is Option Shift Command V all at the same time. Ridiculous, right? But check it out. You got that texture is now pasted into that selection. You could we still have that other one here. You could kind of hide that and get rid of it. So now we're not looking at these layers because the eye is off here, or that one. Let's do one last little fun thing to finish this one off. Let's say we want to add a layer behind it. So if you want to add a layer, if you go down to this right hand corner right next to the trash can, if you hover here, it'll always tell you what something does. Create a new layer. Let's do that. I'm going to put it just right there. And so now you know, if you ever want to, I showed you this in class, Option Delete fills a whole layer with any color, or a selection with the color that's on the top right here. So if I switch these, which is X, and hit Option Delete, it turns it into a black background. Okay, that's cool. You know, one thing that I did like, and it would, do you see how these kind of just look like they're pasted on here? If we wanted to make them kind of look like it's more kind of embedded in that image, let's use that feather trick that we learned about. I'm going to select the layer, hit Command click, and now you see the marching ants on the left hand side. Let's add that layer mask, and then when you click the layer mask here, right now my properties panel is right here, and then I'm just going to do the feather. This is like a little kind of and you can see that starting to feather that. If you ever like trying to figure out, is this working there, and you throw it up, don't throw up, but kind of crank it up to something high. Oh yeah, it's working. And then you can also dial it in if you know, like, oh, you know that 8 looked good. 8.4. Okay, great. Now you hit return, and then let's do the same thing on the other one. You could just dial that in 8.4 so it has a similar look as the other. And then when you're done with that, you can just hide that with that little kind of double arrow bar. I might have done that too quick. See that? Boop, it gets rid of it. Okay, so now we have a feather on both of our images. We have two different textures kind of pasted in there. I'm not liking this black layer. It's kind of cool, but it'd be really neat if it was a gradient that maybe used one of these colors. Let me show you how to do that. This will be the last thing of this tutorial. So I'm going to click on this gradient tool. We didn't talk about this in class. I'm going to hit that button up top. Let me just do that again. That was maybe a little too quick. Click the gradient tool, and then up here it lets you choose some different offerings. And I'm just going to go with the first one that says foreground to background color. This is the background, this is the foreground, that's the background. But you can choose different colors here. So what you can say is what we want here, let's say we actually want, for the starting color, we want that to be white. Let's click on this guy here, actually this guy here, and we can choose the color white. And for this one, I'm clicking this guy here. Let's do something different. I want to pick a color from our image here, and this eyedropper will let me choose one of these colors. You could choose the darker one or the lighter one and kind of do something to your own, whatever you feel like is looking good. So now we're gonna have a gradient that's gonna go from white to this color here, brownish. And if you're trying to figure out what the heck do I mean by gradient, it's like an ombre, I think the ladies like to call it, with the hair kind of stuff. So you can see what's happening. White here, I'm dragging that, and it's going to that color that we chose. Okay, so it's kind of like, and I'm going to do it again. I'm just in the middle of the image here, and if you make a shorter line, it's going to get to that second color quicker. So you can see now it's just like this white thing. And I don't like that look so much, but I just wanted to show you. So the further you drag it out, the further that kind of the blend is between the white and the second color. You could go even further, so it's out like that. That's going to give us probably more white. Okay, so now you can see only at the edges we're getting that darker color. That's maybe too much. Just dragging from the center, maybe like right here. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, that's the part 2, and you're done. Check out part 3. It's coming up in a separate video.